Testing, testing. Okay. Sorry. Let's hope that this stream works. I tried this afternoon, but my bitrate was abysmal. So let's hope my internet has fixed itself. And I'm still a bit scatterbrained with I'm working on a couple of things at the same time, which is a bit confusing at times. So maybe let's just play the game for a run, and I'll talk about what I worked on. So over the weekend I was mostly doing marketing stuff, which means just updating the Steam page and writing texts, which takes a long time for me at least. And yeah, for Friday, the next update, I've set myself the goal in the roadmap that I posted on Steam and on Reddit that I have NPCs in the game by Friday. I mean, I wrote in June, but yeah, that's the last date where I can do an update in June. So I've been working on the NPCs, and it's not easy to bring them into the game in a way that fits the game. What's that? Skeleton shooting. And I collected, that's on the last couple of days, I collected a number of approaches, but most of them would impact the game in a way that I don't think is right, which means they would basically alter the well, it's yeah, I'm still processing all of that. So what the ideas were basically all meta gameplay systems that would allow you to revisit locations. So that's the crux. If I put NPCs in the world and encounters, then you need several things. First of all, you need to learn of the location. So that comes back to player choice. You need to learn of the location, and then you need to have a way to go to that location, to seek it out, to intentionally follow steps to reach the goal, which would be to reach that location. And because the game is linear, there's no way for you to do that right now. So that could be seen as a problem, because the player choices, or the player's ability to influence the path is basically none. So I looked for a couple of systems that can change that, but I don't think any of them works, because the core of the game is still reaching the end, and everything in the game is built for that. So if I bring in if I weaken that core, that might cause the game to collapse. So just to give you an idea, one of the approaches would be to have to give the player the ability to revisit paths they were already on. So you would have a log or a map at the very beginning where you could choose to go on paths that you were already on, so that you can reach a specific location. The other one was that you can collect tokens on the run and then pay with these tokens at the beginning stone outside of the barrier to bring you to a specific location that then is walled off. You cannot leave that location, and you can only return back to the beginning. Those are two ideas, but the problem is what is the why then still have such a long path that you should reach the end of? I mean, the game, how the game works still is already pretty complicated with the static world and the variable paths. So that would just, I think, completely make the game impenetrable to understand. And yeah, it diverts from the reach the end. What's the word for that? The whole premise of the game. So that's what I've been thinking about, which takes quite a lot of time. But in the end, I think, so right now I'm back at, I've taken a step away from that, and I'm back at the original core, but with switching the frame of reference from different locations back onto the run itself, and trying to give the player meaningful choices along the path. So that's much harder, of course, but there are many linear games that pull that off. And yeah, so the NPCs can still be tied to locations, which was the impetus of all of this mess. But then more in a in a non-gameplay fashion. So there will be NPCs in the game that are just there for flourish, but there will also be NPCs there that are directly linked to the path. So that they can complicate or ease your journey. They can give you items, they can take items away, they can trade items, they can warn you of things, they can give you clues, because they could have visited the path you're on, so they have the information, and that and could give that to you. So yeah, I have, let me see. One, two, three, four, 10 use cases, like I just listed, for the NPCs. There are many more, of course, and these use cases are very general, so they can be modified slightly and placed somewhere else. I have a slightly different outcome, and I think they are a good start. Now I'm looking at the calendar. It's already Tuesday, so until Friday I will only be able to implement some of them, and yeah, that's the current goal. And I'm still looking for a cure, but I don't. Oh, I have medicine. I'm stupid. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty complicated to add the NPCs in a meaningful way, and that's, I mean, it'll clear up. It's just that I've just begun thinking about NPCs in earnest, and yeah, a couple of ideas I was living with before turned out to be not feasible, so I'm readjusting. But that's how game development is. Come on. And yeah, other than that, that's the NPCs. The why are they destroying me? The other thing I'm working on is more secondary items, in addition to the bow, that can alter the way you play the game, or kind of. So yeah, generally the strategy for the game is still adding a lot of stuff that creates emergent gameplay and creates depth. So that's one reason why the whole revisiting locations system is probably a dead end, because it would take a lot of time, it would change the game completely, and it's not guaranteed to make the game better. So generally a bad idea. But if I have a lot of small things that interact with each other, then that can fill the hole that the game has right now. So back to these secondary objects, secondary items. So there's currently the bow that you can equip in the basically the offhand, and then use anytime you want. Then I have a few ideas for different objects that you can equip if you find them, and then use by pressing the special action button, the same one you use to shoot items, shoot bows right now. So you would just equip the item and then press the button in a direction, and it would be applied to the object that's near you. So one of those would be, which I'll probably implement. Great. Would be gloves. So you could find gloves that allow you to push not only the boulders but heavy objects like this rock right here. And then I would make some furniture immovable, for example the bed, and so you have like here, perfect example. There are only a few boulders you can push right here, but imagine being surrounded by kobolds and being able to push all the stones right here to block off a path or to squish them. So that would be a pretty cool addition. The question is, of course, where do you find those items? And what do you do if you don't have them? So the gloves and rocks is a good example, I think, of something that's optional but will make your life much easier. Another item could be, so these are still preliminary, still ideas, but pretty promising. So another item would be a scythe, not a scythe, a sickle that you can use on, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but there are herbs that do nothing right now. They are green hooks, look like green hooks. If you use the sickle on them, they would drop a potion with a relative high chance, and the same thing for the roots, which do nothing right now. Here's an fern. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And yeah, you could use these on basically all plants and all future plants to get more items that you need. So that would be a secondary item. And I want to add at least one of them until Friday. And it will probably be the gloves, because they are so defined in what they can do. So I'm working on that. Shouldn't be too hard to implement that, but yeah, well, you never know. And then, so that was NPCs, secondary items, and then I've been looking into the monsters, which are pretty basic right now. Oh yeah, another item would be something to disarm traps that you see. So monsters could use a complication, and I have some ideas. Some of them are pretty old, some of them are pretty new, some of them are kind of obvious, others are not. But what I will look into today on stream is skeleton necros. So basically you have a pack of skeletons and there may be a necromancer among them, or just a magical skeleton that can revive bone piles. So right now the bone piles, there's one to the left right there. They are just obstacles basically that can spawn a skeleton if you're unlucky. That was a bone pile. This is another one. So what I could do is, first of all, make a number of these skeletons become these necromancers, and they will then, with a cooldown, turn these piles into skeletons. And the second idea is that if you destroy a skeleton, it doesn't vanish, but it becomes a bone pile. But I'm not sure if that works with the necromancers, but probably. So that would spice up the skeletons. And I have ideas for the zombies and for that's a new zombie monster, just like the skeletons. Doesn't revive stuff, but complicates the combat for sure. And what was the other one? Yeah, I think I was thinking about the spiders, but that may be more complicated. Or I just haven't thought of something simple and impactful. But yeah, in addition to the combat stuff, let me just switch this. Drink that. I have more ideas for new monsters, but well, not full-blown monsters. That I'll reserve that for the new region, but monsters that complicate stuff. And I really want to also bring the gold into play. So I'm not quite sure how I'll do it, because gold is also your current score. So I'm not sure if I'll debase the score basically, and make it not dependent on the gold but on your actions. Which is not a problem at all. But if I do that, then I'll have to give gold a much larger role in the game, and I don't want simple shops in the game, because they destroy the what do I call it? The ebbs and flows that you go through while playing the game. So if you can always buy the stuff that you're missing, then that the game becomes lame pretty fast. But there are other ways to spend gold. The easiest would be what I've been thinking about. Imagine a goblin. There are no goblins in the game right now, but imagine a goblin that comes up to you, or that you find in the forest, and the goblin says, "Okay, hey, give me 100 gold, and I'll give you an awesome item." But you don't know if you'll really get a good item. It could be just nothing. But that would be an awesome way to spend your gold. Gambling, basically. For gambling for loot. That is a good gold sink. The other one would be, but that requires more end game systems. But the other one would be for you to, yeah, well, generally it's receiving non-material goods. So you could ask a seer to tell you what lies ahead on the path. And that would need known dangers that you can prepare for. Just the absolute simplest one would be a region with monsters that have fire resistance, or that are fire monsters and you need fire resistance this way around. But that's a larger problem that I'll have to figure out. But that would solve one of the biggest problems in the game, which is anticipation of future events. So that's also what I tried to solve with the revisitable locations. But yeah, that didn't work out. But that would be a great addition. But I'm not sure how I'll do this in a way that's thematically coherent. And of course, fits right into the gameplay. Okay, what do I do? I wanted to... Oh, improves arrows. I'll keep that. Code. I want all of that, basically. Well, I can just drink it then. Yeah, so that's what I've been juggling. And yeah, I added a couple of names, as you can see right here. If I enter the dungeon, the name appears up there. Yeah, that's what I've been doing since 1 o'clock this afternoon. Giving all the dungeons names. So yeah, the dungeons come first, and then I'll give the overworld names, but probably probably in larger regions, so that you can kind of know where you are on the map. But yeah, but I'm pretty stoked for the NPCs. I have worked on the backstory of the game. Well, not the story, but the setting. And I did that. Well, I did that at least 3 times. I worked out basically the whole setting, but now at this stage everything is much clearer. And oh, that was lucky. And it's much easier to know what is good and what is bad from the game's perspective. What will expand the game and what will just bring problems. And there are many spiders here. Why don't they come over here? Oh, I have a bow. Oops. Should maybe use it. So yeah, I have a list of a small list of NPCs, and the reason why they are inside the barrier. And so I can write dialogue for them. Pretty easily, hopefully. That's bad. Don't have weapon. Let's look. Okay, that's pretty good, please. Yes. And yeah, the haven't counted. Maybe 4th thing I'm juggling is the next region, which will still need a whole lot of work, but I've done that work before, and I'm in a better state to do that work than ever before. But yeah, one thing that's complicating all of this is that each time I add a feature that requires me to edit the world, let's say if I want to add gates and levers, or a pressure plate trap, the most obvious would be when you step on a plate, you'll get shot by poison arrows or something, like in Skyrim. That would require me to edit the whole world and place all these objects there. So the more I add now, the bigger the amount of work for the next region. So I'll have to be kind of careful if I want to keep the deadlines in the roadmap. Stat axe. Like the hammer better. But if I, back to the necromancer. If I turn skeletons into bone piles that you'll have to destroy then. Then that would work with the necromancer, because imagine spawning the necromancer somewhere where there's no bone piles on the ground. So if skeletons leave them behind, you'll always have some to spawn from. Hey, worth staring at skeletons. Yeah, that too. But it's zombies right now. How you doing, Wolf? Press the wrong button. Press the wrong button. Okay, let's think about the skeletons after staring at them. Doing okay? Glad to hear it. So I need a new entity or new object. That's the Necro. Then skeletons get a 100% drop chance of a bone pile. And then the necros get a cooldown ability that turns a nearby bone pile into a skeleton. That doesn't sound too bad, actually. Sounds pretty easy. Okay. Let me think about it one more time. So maybe I'll see edge cases. So creating the necro object. So I'll need, well, I need a sound effect for the raising, which is annoying. I need to spawn necro. I don't have a second permutation for a stronger necro, but I think that's okay. So let's say every 5th skeleton gets turned into a necro. Let's just to try it out, and then well, raise skeleton ability with cooldown, and then I lost my thought. Make skeletons drop a bone pile. 100% certainty. And that should be it. So let's do it. And first step would be to create a sprite. So that's 443. Necro 443. Let's leave this. Okay. Let's see where skeleton is used. Oops. Okay, an entity, item, object, sound. Entity. Okay, that's damage color. Death message. So that's that. Then in game, oh yeah, that's the aggro sound. Why don't I play those? Let's play them. There might have been a reason in the past. If so, then I'll probably rediscover it. Okay, item. Okay, this is the spawn chance of the pile. So if you destroy a pile, there might be a skeleton in it, but that'll change in that the pile now spawns coins. Because it would be confusing if skeletons arise by chance or because of the necromancer. So let's keep only one of those. Good. And then object, upgrade item, that won't be necessary, and sound. Same sound as the other skeletons. Okay. That's basically the object. So now I'll have to spawn it. And I can do that in new entity here. And I can say for each skeleton and probably each archer as well, if it's a high roll on 5. Oh, this is too late. No. This is probably too late. Because the object is already, the entity is already created. So it's here. No, it's spawn entity. Okay, there it is. Yeah, this just changes the object ID, so let's create a switch here. And then the object ID is Necro. Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Let's see if this explodes. And it does. Because I can't write this for the life of me. Okay, that works. Let's see. Let's go to the test room. Let's clean up this mess. And let's add a whole lot of skeletons. And there are the necros. Let's make it archers. And we have necros. Good. Now what's missing is, first of all, let's make them slow. Very slow thinking of the word slow. Okay. And then maybe give them more health. And less attack. But this ERL, yeah, should maybe work. This may crash. Not sure why, but sometimes. But I'll know what it is. It's a divide by 0 error somewhere. But that'll come up. I have an assert that catches that, so raise skeleton ability. So let's give it the raise, and that needs a flag. Let's see if that works. Yeah. Okay, and then in the entity behaviors, okay, that's pretty cool. I have a cooldown that I can, looks like I can set that to whatever. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that would go here. Let's keep this deterministic. And let's steal this. So what I need is I need entity by so the skeleton will look at all the entities around it. See if there's a bone pile. And if so, it'll replace it with a skeleton and put a particle effect on it. So let me look up what all the numbers in this function do. Okay, layer radius. Radius would be how does it use the radius? So it's actually a square. Let's use 4. I might have to do other checks, like checking if the bone pile is on the same tile patch, so it doesn't resurrect bone piles that are down the hill somewhere. But that'll come later. Okay, so it Do I want to sort them? No. And then types. I want props, I think. Yep. So I'll get all the props. And okay, I'll have to be a bit careful here. This uses a global table to return stuff, which is pretty bad, but it's also a pretty large table. So I must not call this while there's another of these functions active. So let's just check combat. Nope, nope, nope. No, I think update entity goes through the entity map. So there's no call there. Okay, let's go back. Raise. And then for every prop, if it's not a, what is it, pile? Yep. It's not a pile, continue, and then replace with skeleton. That's not that easy, but should be doable. New entity. I've done this before, yeah, like here. So yeah, this needs to be ES entity skeleton. Then I create, well, do I create just skeletons or archers as well? Maybe just skeletons. For now, at least. Okay. This needs to be the bone pile. And then the bone pile gets turned into the skeleton. And this will happen only once. And then this return 1, return 0. If this is 1, then set the cooldown. Yeah, and then this falls through and returns. Non-void should return a value. Oh, okay. Actually, this should maybe return 1 as well. Yeah. So I don't need to check that. And I don't need the return value. Tries to raise skeleton from a nearby bonfire. Okay. Then this can become break. Good. Raise and set the cooldown. So I need feedback. So I have dust. That I can sprinkle there. And it should probably play a sound. So let's just play the skeleton sound for now. P2V. That's ET. Oh, ET, yeah. Okay, let's test it. Test room. Let's add a lot of bone piles. And a necro. Okay, the necro does not want to raise any skeletons. Oh, I think it did. Why does it do it so seldomly? First of all, I think the dust was wrong. It looked weird. Dust, yeah. And then oh, this radius. There's a radius. Great, could have saved that. Okay. Okay, still weird. Okay, raised one skeleton. Um, Wait, is this not reduced? Can't be. There it is. It's yeah, here. -1. Okay, let's not use the cooldown, but let's make it easier. So if it has the raise skeletons ability, and it's the 10th. How do you say that? It's every 10th turn, so no cooldown needed, because that seems to be more complicated. Let's see. Okay, there's one. Stop destroying them. Okay, there's none here. Oh. Oh. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's make the radius smaller. Let's make it 3. Wait, why did I... Okay. My past self from 10 minutes ago was confused. Necro. Let's make the Necro glow, because why not? Why not completely steal the idea from Diablo 2 while I'm at it? And yeah, I got to I need a message here. Put message skeleton raised. Does that make sense? I'm not quite sure. Hello? The hell is it doing? That was 2 in a row. Oh, stupid. That's how it is. Okay, so it is skipping turns because it's slow. But it should have... What is happening? Oh, okay, yeah, this must be... Must go up. Because the necromancer is too busy chasing me to cast the spell. Oh, now we're talking. That's a lot of skeletons. That's a bit much. Okay, let's say every 30th turn. La la la. Well, actually, yeah, that's too slow. I could have killed that necromancer 10 times over by now. So maybe let's keep it at 10. Let's see in the world how that plays out. Let's search a spot. Yeah. Let's hope it spawns a necro. Well, it spawns nothing. That makes sense. Because I entered that patch. It doesn't spawn anything. Okay, but this time I didn't. Hello. There's a necro. Okay. So it works, but I need a better example. Maybe here. But I need... Wait, do these skeletons actually drop the bone piles? And can I... Maybe give me a normal skeleton, please. There it is. Didn't drop a bone pile. Why is that? Okay, great. It's because I didn't add it. Where was the ruins? Yeah. Dude. Why did it work the other way around? So it removes all the entities on the first patch. So you don't get killed instantly, but that's bad for testing, of course. So let me fix that. Okay. Trim enemies. Don't spawn markers on the first patch. So if the program is not the tutorial and this is the first patch, let's put the option here. What is the option? World open. Oh. What did I call the option? No, no path. Okay, that's horrible. Oh god, no. Options. Not. Let's just. Let's hope they're global. I think they are. Yeah. This should maybe work. Killing my brain. Field. And then the ruins. And if I jump in. Okay, it's the other way around. Assertion. Awesome. So it dies. I'll be right back. I'll go to the bathroom real quick. Yeah, so this basically crashes because the game's not seeded. And this game object is exactly what I was working on. I was removing all the markers for which game object is called, which then wait. Bam, 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 bam. Don't spawn markers on the first patch. So this calls continue after doing some other stuff. So basically this prepares the world for a run. It removes some markers, it adds some markers. And then this goes through every tile on the world. And if it's on the tile in the first patch, oh, it removes all the enemies here. Oh man. Does that even... Yeah, it sets all the enemies to 0. All the enemy markers. So what I want... I want is that when this option is set, which means don't constrain me to the path, I want it to not remove them. So maybe I just nest this. But why does it crash then? So if the option is 0, just what I want, then this whole thing doesn't happen. And then it says, oh, and then it calls game object. This is what caused the assertion. Oh. Wow, this is incredibly stupid. Come on. But what I really want is to put this here. Yeah, I'll have to clean that up sometime. But I was still able to understand it. So that's it passed this time. Okay. And I have a bone pile. Oh, that's super annoying. Yeah, I don't like that at all. That's it. So skeletons don't turn into bone piles because they are, well, I could make them non-blocking, but then I can't destroy them. So what's the use? Let me see. Well, the problem is that I need bone piles for the necromancers to work, and I have them most everywhere where there are skeletons, but maybe not everywhere. And in that case, like here, there's no bone piles. Well, there's one. In that case, I could make the skeletons produce their own bone piles, but that's okay. I mean, if a necromancer sees this, it'll get turned into a skeleton. If you don't come first, of course. Okay, this is much better with the non-removal. Of the entities, but yeah, I need to place more bone piles alongside the skeletons. Yeah, not sure when I'll have the time, but they are, yeah, I mean, 80-90% of the skeletons should have that. Those are snakes. Need some bone piles here. And it looks like they got removed somehow. But I don't think so. With them only being at the edges. Well, there's some here. Well, I mean, they didn't have the importance they have now, so that's fine. Spider, 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 spider. Okay. Let's see if I can find a location. Yeah, there are a couple of spiders here. And there's a necromancer. And oh. Okay. I'd say that works. I'll have to tweak it a bit, of course, but It's pretty good. 2 hours for the basic necromancer. 1.5 hours. So that's cool. Okay, so many bone piles, but no necros. That's bad. Well, necromancer is actually a bad name. Oh, come on. I'll see if I can come up with something better. Uh-oh. Because it kind of implies these zombies. Well, does it? Not sure. Dude. I saw the trap, but I pressed down too early. Also the colors of the hero, these status colors, when you're poisoned or on low health, they're not quite right. And yeah, I don't really love them. So I'm not sure what I'll do with them. We'll see. Okay, but yeah, this is it for today. I'll go back to naming dungeons, and then wait, what else? Oh yeah, creating the what I've also been doing is I've cleared up some of the dungeon entrances. So you might have encountered this one. And yeah, I cleaned up this side of it, which was pretty much pure vegetation, and you couldn't see the entrance that well. I've cleared all of those hidden entrances up. So yeah, it should be much easier to see everything, to see where the path goes. I mean, it's still pretty hidden behind just this tree, but yeah, should be better. All right. Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. I'll be streaming on Thursday, maybe, if I have time. If I didn't screw things up and need every last second I can get, but I don't think so. So we'll see. And yeah, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.